speak. And where's she at? Where is she at? I'm looking for. Oh, there she is. Can you say something about just what happened and just basically what you guys were doing? And because we just went live here with individuals.
Yeah, of course. So our group here, our community here, we are all Mexica Chichimeca danzantes, Aztec dancers, but we were conducting our ceremony here to offer our dances for the community here, you know, and awaken that warrior spirit of these lands so that we can be protected and accompanied by our ancestors on this battle today. You know, like we're battling for our lives, we're battling for our water. Exactly. And Detective Sybil here from Dallas, Texas. Take note, Detective Sybil, complain about him to Dallas, Texas Police Department for dishonoring our religious ceremony here. You know, I compared it to us going into their churches and knocking down their sacred elements and not apologizing. He would apologize to me personally, but he didn't want to do a public apology, which speaks volumes of what this white privilege has done to this land for centuries. You know, like they feel like they don't have to apologize for trampling on our beliefs, and he stepped on our altar, knocked down our water, which is very, very much symbolic. And you know, that's the element speaking right there, his own element of Wasichu, Wetiko energy, and us here sitting as guardians and protectors of this water. But you know what, there's a little bit of that water left at the bottom that still holds that prayer and that power of our people, and we just multiply it, you know, with their own bottles of water, right? But we know how to make these elements work for our favors, you know, like Mother Earth is speaking very loudly right now, trampling on all those refineries in Houston, Texas. You know, we pray for protection for our people that have been affected over there, but we know it's the work of our prayers that are filtering, you know, what needs to happen. You know, those are the only things that are going to catch people's attention to make them think like, oh, we need to think of new ways to use energy. We need to think of new ways to get around, you know, and that's why we're here today, you know, because this is the head of the snake, and we're here to cut it off.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sister. Thank you. You had something to say. People were here. And what's your name again?
Jacob.
Jacob.
How you doing? Mateo. Well, I mean, first, like I was telling our sister here, like, I mean, you're remembering while we're here, like, earlier we had them trying to tell us, like, we can't play as loud as we are, and, like, it's just a reminder that, like, they've been trying to silence us since colonization started, you know? They've been trying to, like, keep us from practicing our culture. Like, for a while it was illegal for us to practice our ways, for us to pray in public, for so many brown people to be together, you know what I mean? And now it's not much different when we try to play and we try to pray, and like, I mean, they tell us to silence, you know, they tell us to be quiet, to keep it down a little bit, you know what I mean? As if there's a volume for our culture. There's not. Like,
exactly.
I was telling our sister, like, there's passion. There's passion in every drum beat. That's the heartbeat of the people. You can't tell the heart to beat lower. You can't. I mean, what's the point in that? I mean, the heart's beating. Like, it's just
coming to a stop.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so here we got this corporation telling us that we can't do this, we can't protest, we can't protect our land, as if like we're in the wrong. And I'd seen it before, like, as if we have to be an activist just to want clean water, just to want to protect our earth, you know what I mean? And you don't shit where you eat, you know? Like, we live here, we're gonna be passing these down to our children, like, so what are we doing? Like, we're polluting everything, the air, the water, like, they're selling everything. You gotta pay to live, you gotta pay to die, like, there are places where you gotta pay for air, like, it's just capitalism at its finest, and it's just a monster, it's a beast, you know what I mean?
Okay, we're going to take you live. We're going to go over here to Yolanda Blue House, and we're going to have her
schedule as best we can. I hope everybody is doing okay. It is a little warm out here. If you need some water, please don't hesitate to come up to somebody in a Society of Native Nations shirt or an AIM shirt and say, you know, you need some water, you don't feel well. Let us know. We're here for you. And we appreciate your presence being here. So we want to welcome everybody to the national campaign to stop ETP. We are here and we're one voice. I want you all to know that we all appreciate so much. We're all coming together. We have a lot of special guests that we're going to hear from today. But again, we want to welcome everybody. Let's keep safe today. Approximately about 5:15, 5:30ish, we will go on a walk. This rally will be similar to the ones we've had in the past. We'll have some speakers up here, and then about 5:15, 5:30, we will walk down into the residential area, down the road. We want everybody first and foremost to keep safe. Please follow the rules that we have asked some of our members to make sure everybody stays safe, stay out of the roads, things like that. You know, your safety, your presence is very special to us. So let's just be mindful of each other. I would like to introduce to you, again, I'm Yolanda Bluehorse. I'm a member of the Society of Native Nations, and I do reside here in the Dallas area. And I'm going to introduce you to our Executive Director, Frankie Arona. He is out of San Antonio, and I'll let him talk.
All right, thank you again. Like she said, I appreciate everyone coming out here. First and foremost, thank the spirits and the people of this land for helping us come here in a good way, in a safe way. Like she said, we're gonna start this this action, this rally. We already have everything pretty much set in motion. We're gonna go ahead and start with an opening prayer first, and then we're gonna have all the pipeline representatives that flew in and drove here from long distances to stand here in solidarity and come up here together, and we'll take turns having them speak and say the things that they need to speak and say. But we're also going to have them come up to take a photo of them coming together to show that message that we're trying to, put out there, and that is that we are coming together as a community, as a whole, through this nation, through the world, to stand here in solidarity. We come in that way, so that way they, Kelsey Warren, Energy Transit Partners, fossil fuel industry in general knows that we're holding them accountable, and it's not just about enough is enough. It's now, it needs change, and it needs to happen. It needs to happen now. If we wait for our kids to do it, by then it might be too late. We're here to honor those that came before us and honor those that came after, that will be coming after us. So we're gonna have them come up here. I'll ask Juan to come up here and share some words, say an opening prayer, and then we'll have Dallas come over here, and everyone that flew in from the different pipelines to come out here and take a photo and take turns speaking about the issues that they're dealing with back home. Out.
I was always taught to look up when we pray. Before the buildings came and before the church buildings came, we wouldn't bow down. We always looked up to the sky, because that's where the one that went above, the Creator. So I'm gonna say a few words in my language, and I'll sing a song for some blessings. Hopefully for another good hurricane to stop this stuff down there in South Texas. So I've already been blamed for that hurricane that came in hard. So I made him a relative. Harvey's my relative, guys. I manifested him, they said. So thank the Creator and thank the earth for giving us life.
The volume. I can hear him.
Actually, we need some volunteers to come stand behind the speaker. So folks that are not filming, they can help stand behind the speaker. Step forward here. Come on back.
Stand behind the speaker. Put that sign up.
Good. When you do this, we need a picture here.
In there.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? There we go. All right. Hamataki fi chante washte na bechi usapido mi charge ki wakamani demiedo. Washitya ya Dallas Goldtooth emaki apido. My name is Dallas Goldtooth. I'm Dakota Wichasha. I come from the lands of so-called Minnesota. I'm happy to be here, and I'm proud to see all the faces here. Standing before you right now are the faces of the front line. Those individuals who have sacrificed hours, days, years of their lives and time to stand up against the company who has no regard for their safety, no regard for their health, no regard for their air, their water, and for future generations. The relatives standing here have come united to speak up and say it's more than just one pipeline, it's more than just one oil well, it's about the whole system overall. It's about this company, Energy Transfer Partners, and its leadership that has sacrificed so many lives and so much time in people's energy. People have been arrested. Well over 1,000 people have been arrested in this fight against Energy Transfer Partners in the various projects. People have been shot with mace and rubber bullets. They've been attacked by dogs because of this company, Energy Transfer Partners, wishes to make its pipeline projects run through Mother Earth. So we stand up and we say no more. We stand up and say we have to stop this company from threatening our water, our land, and our air, and our communities, but also future communities. The red ribbon you see here that each one of these folks is holding represents the red line. Our communities are the red line. Some time ago over in Paris, the countries of the world came together to talk about how to address climate change. And in that meeting, they talked about the red line that we can't cross to protect Mother Earth. The red line was parts per million of carbon dioxide. The red line was the temperature of the average temperature of the Earth. But in a very physical and very powerful sense, the communities, the people that you see here represent, they are the red line. That the more we dig, the more we build, the more we depend on fossil fuel development in this country and across the planet, the communities that you see represented here are being sacrificed. And we're taking a stand and we're saying no more. And so I'm so happy to see the voices of the front lines here. And I just want to acknowledge each and every one of them and say thank you for being here at this place, standing up and having the courage to do so. And I just want to share those few words. Thank you, relatives.
Okay, thank you, Dallas, and thank you everyone again for coming up here. I'd like to ask Ethan Buckner to come up here. He is the representative of the National Campaign to Stop ETP. He is also representative of an organization called Earthworks.
Thank you all so much for being here. It's a tremendous honor to be here with this incredible group of people who have come here from near and far to stop Energy Transfer Partners. Today is the launch of the Stop ETP National Day of Action, and tomorrow there will be over 20 actions across the country as part of a coordinated effort to challenge Energy Transfer Partners. And what brings us here together are threads. There are threads that tie us all here together. There is the first thread, the thread of destruction, the thread of Energy Transfer Partners pipelines, how they have destroyed land, violated indigenous sovereignty, how they've manipulated and stolen land from landowners, polluted waterways and air spilling as they construct their pipelines, in the ways that they have intimidated and continue to inflict violence and harassment upon water protectors and other activists who are standing up to say no, and for the ways that they have trashed the climate to bring more devastating storms like Hurricane Harvey. Now there's another thread that brings us all together, and that is the thread of resilience and strength and spirit and heart. That is the beauty and the beating heart of this movement. And that we know that together we can, because we know where there's a better way, that we can build a world that is just, that we can build an economy that does not depend on digging and extracting and exploiting in order to produce profit for the greedy few, like this man, Kelsey Warren, who's sitting in his office. And so that's the thread that brings us here together, and this is only the beginning. We will continue to work together until these fossil fuels stay in the ground, until our rights are respected, and until all of the communities here have the well-being and sustenance that we all deserve. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much. You know, this campaign, this national campaign, is comprised of many different organizations across the United States. And it took a lot of organizing to get to this point today. And like you said, tomorrow is September the 9th, and there will be rallies going on all over the United States at the different pipelines that this company is behind building. The next person we're going to have up is another prominent voice we've heard from Standing Rock, Lania Locke. She has been very active and vocal in the fight against the Dakota Access Pipeline, and we are very honored to have her here today.
Decolonization starts with our own language. Once we start thinking in our own language and minus our English language, that's where decolonization starts, right there, is with our speaking our own language. and that was a major tactic in against us, was taking away our language and our spirituality. So decolonization begins with our own language. I greeted you. I am from Standing Rock. I grew up in Wakpala. Wakpala's water intake will take only 40 minutes for Dakota Access to poison our water, including the 10 million people south of us. 10 million people. They desecrated Standing Rock graves. Those are real people that belong to us. Those are our relatives that they bulldoze over. They use dog attacks to attack us. That was real. These tactics are real. And we're calling for everyone to stand in solidarity, because this web of the fossil fuel industry is so wide and it goes so far up the chain in our governing system. And we as the people, we need to stand united. We need to stand solid, and we need to be resilient and stand together shoulder to shoulder like we are right now on a daily basis. Not just at rallies, not just on direct actions, on a daily basis. We need to go shoulder to shoulder. And I want everyone to know the No DAPO fight is still going. Even though the closure attempt took place, we are still standing. Standing Rock Grassroots is still saying No DAPO. Because the Missouri River is 12,000 years old. 17 million people drink from it, and 10 million people will be affected by Dakota Access. And that's what we're standing and protecting our future. And we're creating sustainable communities. Resistance, it comes in many forms. It comes in our language. It comes in us planting a garden. It comes in us making our own clothes. It comes from us. Resistance comes from us. And true education, and I'm talking not from textbooks in school. I'm talking about true education of sitting down and talking with your elders and figuring out who you are as a person. That's what empowers you. And that's what we need, is we need more enlightened people that are empowered, that can find their own voice. So I don't have to be your voice, you can be your own voice. And that's the one thing I really want to stress. I want everyone to find their own voice and to stand united shoulder to shoulder and say, this is my story, and this is how I stand, and this is why I'm strong. And that's what Standing Rock is well known for. I'm not the only one that became well known from Standing Rock. We are well known because of Sitting Bull. We are his people. And he said, let's put our minds together and build something for our future. And that's what we're doing right now. And we need to apply this every day of our life. So I just wanted to stress those things. We still say No DAPO, Mini Wichoni, and the fight is continued. And the best way to help us right now is divest, defund DAPO. Plus it gets Kelsey Warren pissed off. So, thank you again. Wopilas Konka, Chikiafi, thank you for coming here and being with us. And Mini Wichoni, water is life.
Water is life!
Thank you, Juanea. I want to make sure everybody, these people that have traveled a long way. It's a 17-hour drive all the way down here from up north, and we're very appreciative that they came all this way to be with us today. The next person that we're going to have up, she was part of the Medic Council, and I believe she still has her group. Linda Black Elk, she has also been a very prominent voice about what's been going on up there, has been very supportive of Society of Native Nations. She's had a lot of supplies down to Two Rivers Camp when we had our camp open in West Texas fighting the Trans-Pecos pipeline. So if you would, you're a blessing to have here. Thank you so much. Her heart, you can just feel the good energy that comes off of her. So thank you again.
Okay. No offense, but I didn't come here to talk to you guys, so I'm going to turn around. Kelsey Warren, I know you are not listening to me. But my name is Linda Black Elk, and you wouldn't know me. Even though over the last year you have attacked me with dogs, you have sprayed me with pepper spray, you have thrown tear gas at me, you have sprayed me with water cannons until I was freezing, you shot me with rubber bullets. I am an ethnobotanist. That means that my children, my family still relies on the foods and medicines that grow on Standing Rock. The same area that their ancestors fought and died for, the same land that their ancestors have collected food and medicine on, have hunted and fished for thousands of years. We still hunt and fish there. We still collect our sacred foods and medicines there. And now the area that I took my family, that I took my own little children for 2 decades, is decimated by the construction and the burial of the Dakota Access Pipeline. We can no longer go there. You have taken food out
Thank you. We all need to remember that that's why we're here. We're here to protect this earth. We're here to protect this earth, the land that our ancestors died on. You know, we need to always be mindful every day that the reason why we are even walking today is because of what they fought and died for. You know, last weekend was a holiday weekend, and you know, here we are on Friday afternoon. I want to thank you all again for coming out and taking time out of your day. Just your presence here shows how much you care, and those who weren't able to be here, we carry them in spirit with us too. The next person that we want to be able to recognize is Lori here. Lori is part of the Big Bend Coalition group that is out of West Texas. Her group and the people down there have fought against the Trans-Pecos pipeline. And I'll let her tell a little bit about what the pipeline down there is, what it did not do for any Texan, any United States citizen, anything. But she has been a great person to work with for our camp. She requested that Society of Native Nations come down there, and we did, and it was awesome working with her. Thank you. Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you, Linda Blackout. I have a speech that I wrote, but you know, Linda's words, I feel it. And what happened at Standing Rock is something we can never forget. And it's not just about, it's about the indigenous people, and that is where my great pain lies, but it also is about the rest of us and our rights to the air, the land, the water, to protect what we find sacred. We fought the Trans-Pecos pipeline. It's a 42-inch pipeline. It's in the ground now. A lot of people said it's not going to perpetuate fracking. Well, I'll tell you what's going on now. There are wells, drill rigs going up everywhere. And the Waha hub, where all these pipelines meet, it looks like a big, giant Medusa. It's a huge, scary monster in this little farming community of Kayanosa. And now, a year later, after we started this fight, when I look to the north of my home, I see smog. Smog in the Big Bend blue skies. Okay, Texas is known for its blue skies. Texas is known for the Big Bend region, and now it's filled with pollution. And when I drive home from here, I'm going to go from Big Spring to Midland, and I'm probably going to have another allergic reaction to the pollution. Last time I drove through there, my nostrils burned, my throat swelled up. This is stuff we're all breathing. It's in this air. The wind blows it everywhere. The more that it happens, the worse it's going to be. This same pollution is causing the climate change, these hurricanes that are happening. Okay, we have climate criminals. We're standing in front of a building of climate criminals, and they're accusing us of being criminals. But what they're doing to the American people and to the indigenous people is they are taking away our rights. They are taking away our rights to defend our homes, to defend our air, to defend our water, to defend our future. And they are buddying up with Greg Abbott. They're buddying up with all these Texas legislators, and they're selling us out. And the American people need to wake up and realize that Stop ETP Coalition is about us uniting and stopping this monster from digging its way, gouging its way through our nation and polluting our waters and desecrating our sacred lands. It's about stopping them from desecrating us. We are sacred. All of us are sacred. And I want you to Ask yourself, what will you sacrifice? What will you give up in this movement? What is sacred for you? Thank you. Thank you, Lori. A few of the people that you see standing before you, Energy Transfer Partners has pipelines throughout the United States that they're putting in. We asked the representatives if they would make their way down here. They're holding steady with their own camps in other states to fight these pipelines. And we're very blessed to have the people who come down, take their time out of their hard work that they're doing to come down here and stand with us today. We have Sharif Foytlin from Bold, Louisiana. She's fighting the Bayou Bridge pipeline down there and has been a strong voice, very strong voice, and we're very honored to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here today, and thank you for all the great words that we've heard today. So we're fighting the Bayou Bridge pipeline, which goes through South Louisiana, goes through 11 parishes and 700 bodies of water, 700. It's going to destroy or affect 600 acres of our wetlands, and those wetlands are important because they soak up water so we don't have flooding like we did last August. I had water in my house and I'm still not recovered from that. And then I just also wanted to take a moment, if we could, to just have a second or a moment of silence for the people who are being affected by Harvey now, and the people who are being affected by Irma as well. If we could just hold them in our heart for a few minutes in whatever way that you connect.
Yeah, sure.
I heard old Kelsey Warren the other day say something. He did an interview in which he was trying real hard to be the victim, and in that same interview he said something about Hurricane Harvey and Irma and how he just really felt bad for those people, but he didn't feel so bad for the people who were dealt that blow of Hurricane Rita not that long ago. You know what he did is he held on to a lot of natural gas, and then when it was time, he let it go so he could make a lot of money. He even said, and he's quoted as saying, the most money he's ever made has been in the darkest hours. What kind of a son of a sucker says something like that? We got water running through, we got alligators outside our house, and sharks and everything else, and sewage and everything else, and this guy says he's making money because that's the kind of guy he is. We saw it up north, we see it everywhere. He's not good, his heart is bad, right? And I can see his humanity, but I can also see his ugly, and I don't want that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Man, we've all been witness to it. I don't have to sit here and tell you, I don't have to make a case for why this is a horrible company and that's a horrible dude. I don't have to do that. You all saw it with your own eyes. A lot of you here felt it. You know, this same government that backs him up, this President Trump or whatever he wants to pretend like he is, right? They can pass an act saying that they're going to give money to hurricane victims, to give money to people after they've already destroyed our lands, but they can't stop this jerk from doing it in the first place, right? They're not standing up for us, right?
Right.
They're going to throw us pennies after they've destroyed our lives. They take and take and take. But you know what the thing is?
Yes.
Like, it's about justice. It's about what justice looks like. And it's about who holds the reckoning of justice, right? When your government won't do it, when they won't protect you, who has to stand up and take care of our children? Who has to stand up and take care of our water and our land? Whose responsibility is that? We do. It's ours. So we say where I live, L'eau est la vie. And that means water is life in the Houma language. The language of Houma. Water is life. Mini Wachoni. L'eau est la vie. It runs through all of us here, and even these people here who are so sick that they don't even know it. They don't even know that we're fighting for them too. We don't even know the justice that we are making using our blood is for them too. You know why? Because they're babies. They haven't grown up yet. They're ill in their head. But
Water is life! Water is life! Water is life! Water is life!
It's an amazing woman right there. All of these women up here are amazing. You know, it's in our hearts, in our soul, that we fight for this earth. We're able to give life. We have a lot of sacredness about us, and everything that these women speak about is coming from their spirit and their soul. The next person that we have here is all the way from Pennsylvania. She has a camp called Camp White Pine in Pennsylvania, and they are battling the Mariner East 2 pipeline. She's tracked her way all the way down here, so if you guys will just give her a minute, let her explain. It's important that you listen to every one of these representatives from these pipelines, because their stories, you know, Standing Rock got out there in the media, but what ETP is doing to them is not, and it's along the same lines. It's exactly the same thing they're experiencing. So listen to them, give your heart to them, give their support to them, because they're fighting for this land too.
Hello, my name is Elise Gerhardt. I'm from South Central Pennsylvania, and I'm here because Kelsey Warren and his cronies brought this fight to my family's doorstep. And they did that with the Mariner East 2 pipeline, which is a pipeline that will carry fracking byproducts to a facility to then be exported to the European petrochemical industry to make plastic. And I'm here because my father came to this land as a refugee, and he worked really hard to get what he has now and to get where he's at now, way harder than someone like Kelsey Warren could ever dream of. And my mother worked 32 years in the public school system as a public servant, teaching the children of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And the Commonwealth has turned around and betrayed her and abandoned her and told her that now she needs to sacrifice what she's worked for the benefit of Kelsey Warren and billionaires like him. So Kelsey Warren thinks he's a big man, but it's a small man that needs to stand on the backs of other people to get where he is.
Right.
And that's what he's doing to all of us. So right now, we're in a fight for the land and for the ecosystems and for the water. Right now, Energy Transfer Partners is wreaking havoc across Pennsylvania. They are spilling everywhere. There's been over 100 spills of drilling slurry since they started construction of the Mariner East pipeline. They have polluted wetlands and waterways and aquifers and people's drinking water wells. And my family and our supporters are determined not to be the next ones to have our drinking water sacrificed. So what we've done is we've set up a blockade of their pipeline construction. And we've been doing that for 7 months. And we are occupying some trees on the land that my family promised to protect. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm fulfilling that promise. That's what I was raised to do, and I'm going to do. Yeah, so that's what we've got going on, and I'm really, really thankful to be here with everyone. And I actually, I brought some pine boughs from one of the trees that Energy Transfer Partners wanted to cut down a year and a half ago. But we stood up and we protected it. And so now it stands. And it's like this movement, it's continuing to grow. And as that tree branches out, we continue to branch out. And that's what this coalition is all about. That's what this movement is all about. You know, we're all in this together. We're all growing stronger. And when we stand strong and unified, they grow desperate and being here and for making the sacrifices that you've made to be a part of this, because we all know it's not easy to take on a $50 billion corporation, but with a strong community, it is possible.
Thank you, Elise, so much for making your way all the way down here. You know, it means a lot to all of us every time we have our speakers come out here. But today we're especially blessed to have former State Representative Lon Burnham. He is also the former director of the Dallas Peace and Justice Center and former candidate for the Texas Railroad Commission. If I could introduce Mr. Lon Burnham here, come up and speak. He's done some awesome work as far as environmental, and I'll let him talk about that.
Thank you, Yolanda, and I want to thank all of you water protectors for being here. Thank you, and more thank yous. As Yolanda said, for 18 years I was inside state government and fought the special corporate interests like represented here today, tooth and nail. And I frequently said, unfortunately, Texas state government is a wholly owned subsidiary of the oil and gas interests. They almost always make the wrong decisions. Most recently, you can see that evidence as a result of what's happened with Hurricane Harvey down on the East Coast and all the toxic damage that's been done down there. I want to thank all of you, but I want to remind you of two things. I was standing here thinking about the Trail of Tears. We are on a long trail of tears. We are going to have some victories and we're going to have some losses. I've been doing this since I was in high school and organized Earth Day activities for the first one back in 1970. We have some victories and we have some losses. And we have elections. We could not have had a worse outcome in the last election. So while I respect you for respecting the laws that don't respect us, the way to change those laws is to vote. And I'm here to implore all of you. The Native American community has one of the lowest voter turnouts of any population group in the country. I've just spent several weeks out in New Mexico, in uranium country, where the Dene are dying disproportionately because of cancer, because there are over 1,000 uranium pits open in New Mexico, poisoning the Dene every day. Let me tell you, the head of the black snake is multi-headed, and it has to be attacked in multiple ways. One is demonstrating, sometimes obeying the law, not necessarily always obeying the law. Sometimes it's being involved in electoral politics. Whatever you need to do, whenever you need to do it, remember to keep in your heart the spirit of this movement. Thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you very much for making your way down here and taking time out of your busy schedule to come and speak. The next person that we have has come all the way from Michigan. Not sure, I haven't had a conversation with yet how he likes this weather here. It's nice, a little bit cool. Thank God he didn't come down here in 90-something degree humidity weather. But his work is hard. We were listening to him talk earlier, and he's in the struggle knee-deep as well. The Rover pipeline is up in Michigan, and their fight has been long and hard. Some of the more recent spills from Energy Transfer Partners has been at that pipeline up there. So I will introduce to you Matthew Bork. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm honored to be here. I was honored to be at Standing Rock to stand with everyone here, and I'm honored to stand with you now. I come to you from Michigan. I work with a group of residents in Michigan called Michigan Residents Against E.T. Rover gas pipeline. E.T. Rover is a pipeline that comes from the Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania. In West Virginia, crosses over Ohio and up into Michigan. It's coming in the center of Michigan and then shipped over to Canada. So although it has been eminent domain through a lot of people's properties, it's not for our country. Many people might have heard about the large spills that happened down in Ohio, 500 million gallons due to their HDD drilling, destroying tons of waterways all across. Most people, you know, if you go to Michigan, I would tell you anybody should go to Michigan. It holds one of the greatest bodies of fresh water anywhere in the world. We hold on to the reserves. We're under attack. Your attention is very important to us. We have a camp called Up Hell's Creek Camp because we are on Hell's Creek. Kind of weird that I'm here in front of Kelsey Warren's building thinking that that's hell, and I'd rather be in hell, quite honestly. And yes, Michigan, although it gets cool up north, we have the lower lands are humid, hot, sweaty, but we love it. We're a land of pride. We're a land of family. ET Rover is just something that sounds like it's from outer space. It's not. Nobody really knows about this pipeline. It is a 42-inch natural gas pipeline. The fracking gas that's coming from the Marcellus Shale is radioactive. So if you look through the underneath all of our farms, they're spreading radioactivity. I'd like everybody to pay attention. I'd like to thank everybody for being here, and I'd like to thank you all for welcoming here. I wish I was here for a better reason. We will continue to fight strong. They're continuing to do pipeline work every single day. Every day when I go home, I hear them digging through the ground, digging through the soils, digging through our wetlands. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much to all of you who have come a long way. These are representatives from the other pipelines that Energy Transfer Partners is behind. So now we have representatives from all the pipelines, and there's still more pipelines that are coming up. Our fight is not over with. The next person I'd like to introduce to you is Ben Carnes. He's a longtime activist. He is out of Oklahoma, and I want to say thank you again for coming down here, and I'll let you talk.
Hi, Carl. Chicago. So Chippo, Ben Carnes. But that's okay. I'm just thinking about what all happened last year at Standing Rock. Of all the work I've done over the years, we see the movement, the momentum grows and it wanes and grows. But I do believe that this time it's going to stay. And earlier this year, you got word that about the Diamond Pipeline coming through the Choctaw Nation area, and we had set up a camp. It was called Okalawa. And at the same time, the Oklahoma legislature passed a critical infrastructure law. So if anyone trespasses on private property to protest, they'll get a year in the county jail, $1,000 fine. If you go and do anything from sabotage, damaging, to obstructing, inhibiting the construction of pipeline, you're looking at a felony, a 10-year prison sentence, a $10,000 fine. If you're an organization, church, or some entity that helps support the work of the pipeline people, you're looking at a $1 million fine. So in Oklahoma, we want to come down hard on us. In June, we took an action on a Diamond Pipeline. All the cops showed up, a small group of people, and the Highway Patrol told the other cops, you know what, you want to arrest these small group of people, go ahead. But next weekend, it's going to be 3 times as much. The weekend after that, it's going to be bigger than you can handle. Is that what you really want? So we didn't get arrested that time. We have an attorney that's going to work with this. Oklahoma, if you don't know, eastern Oklahoma, I feel is designated to be a corporate wasteland. The state of Oklahoma has over 200 lakes that are man-made, maybe 3 are natural. Out of those 200 lakes, last year there's 40 that had regulations on how many fish you can eat. And I'm sure many of these Texas fishermen will be happy to hear about that. This year they added 14 more lakes with more restrictions on the fish that you can eat. And what I found out was that that's all the lakes they have tested. They haven't tested the other 75%. Which tells me that those lakes could very well be contaminated. Maybe you should be eating fish out of there. Some of the major rivers we have, our nation sold us out on some of our water rights. And now the state of Oklahoma is trying to take more water from the Combahee River, which could devastate the entire southeastern part of Oklahoma. So our movement's going to grow. But as I watched Standing Rock last year, there was a thought that came to me I carried for years, especially when I seen the Kanaka Maoli come to Standing Rock. I went to Honolulu in 2002, and I testified against the Nakaka bill to recognize Native Hawaiians under the same thing as the Indian Reorganization Act. And before they hear, and I was talking with the man, and he's telling me everything that's going on about his family, his brother. His brother finally got his land on the Hawaiian homelands. He moved in, and they told him, well, you didn't build it right, so you're going to tear it down. He goes, no, I'm not. This is my land. And they came to arrest him. He lit the house on fire, killed himself in there. And this man was telling me this story. He fell, we called the ambulance. And I talked to him and I said, you know what, Henry, I'm gonna make sure everybody remembers your story. He died that night. Never had a man die to me, tell me a story about his pain, about his heartbreak. I've always promised to Kanakamo'oli people that whatever happens over there, I do what I can to help over here. So when I seen them come to Standing Rock, I felt really good because I feel like there's a beginning. And one of the work that we're going to do in Oklahoma, you have to know there's 39 indigenous nations. I do not call them tribes. A Mohawk friend told me a long time ago that you always get called tribes and bands. He says, I looked it up. Band is a band of monkeys, and tribe is a primitive man trying to adopt a higher form of social order. He says, I'm a citizen of the Mohawk Nation. We had the great law. We are superior to the United States. And this is who we are. We are not American. And that's one of the reasons I've never voted. But right now, with what's going on, all the attacks against the water from every direction, maybe I might vote. But I think I would rather create an indigenous party that's based upon our philosophies and our principles that are still inclusive of everyone and how we should live. I know people are tired of the Republican Party, tired of the Democratic Party. Nobody knows what's what anymore. They tell so many lies. Clinton's getting ready to put another book out full of her lies. People argue with me all the time, well, you're driving. You need to stop. I said, no, I'm not. So I'm going to keep driving until I can't afford it no more because I had a diesel truck. That's with that diesel truck I can run biodiesel and I'll keep going a lot cheaper. Because the truth is, we're going to never be completely independent and free of petroleum products, fossil fuels. If we go home, we really think about it, do some self-criticism. How many items in our home is made out of petroleum products? The TVs, the chairs, the cups. Do what we can to reduce that, because that's where it's really going to start, is on how we live. You know, you don't need an Indian name. I don't need to take you to Sweat Lodge. Just look at what we're doing, living in balance with the earth. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Living in balance with one another. So, you know, I don't care about this patriotism, you know, salute the flag and all that crap. Because patriotism will get you killed. Patriotism will make you blind. Patriotism will make you stupid. What's going to make you strong is being a human beings and recognizing our common connection to one another, that we need water, we need clean lands, we need clean airs, because our obligation is to our 7 generations ahead. And if we don't do it, then what kind of a standard, what kind of a model do we leave for our coming generations? We have to stand and fight. We have no choice. So welcome to see everyone here. I appreciate your opportunity to come and speak. Come to Oklahoma. We're still working on our new camp, so we moved it. It's called Good Hearted People Camp. We'll also work on some more actions because, God forbid, Christopher Columbus is coming back in November. He's bringing the ships to Fort Smith. So we're going to place his armada under arrest and escort him to Fort Gibson for stand trial. So I'm going to need Dallas go-to 1491, Christian Whitman, to help stage a performance on the trial of Christopher Columbus. So this is the first he heard about it. We'll talk, but free theater is good. Okay. People laugh, make you feel good, but they also hear the message. Because one of the things you may hear when I speak, you rarely ever hear me see white people. I say non-native people because I learned psychology. Is if you say non-native, they're still opening, they're still listening. But when you say white people, all that armor that comes on, it's like, oh God, here we go again. Maybe we can tell the story in a different way and build our allies. That's how I see them as allies. You know, some people like to say accomplices. Well, I'm not a criminal. I used to be a criminal. I don't do that no more. I stand for the people, so what I do is right, and I appreciate all my allies. I hope the top of guys.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. A couple more speakers here, and then we're going to gear up and get ready to go on our long field trip. Right now, I'd like to ask to see if J.D. Colbert is here somewhere. J.D. Colbert, if you could make your way up here. Right now, I'm going to introduce you guys to Robert Caldwell. He's a representative from the Coalition for Environmental Justice. This group is a coalition of the environmental groups here in the North Texas area, and I'll let him just say a few words.
Yeah, Robert! Woo!
My name is Robert Caldwell. I'm from the EBARB community in Louisiana. That's where I'm enrolled. I'm a member of Solidarity, a socialist, feminist, anti-racist organization, and also System Change, not Climate Change. But today I'm here to speak on behalf of the Coalition for Environmental Justice. We're a broad coalition, and we seek to continue to broadening to include every group in the area that seeks environmental and social justice. We want to be able to bring a strong movement to unite the various forces who have been working on one or two issues. Maybe the group's working on water or lead. Maybe they're working on community gardens for the communities. Maybe they're working on fighting some toxic dumping, environmental racism. We want to be able to bring all the various groups together so that we're much stronger, and that when we call for actions, we'll be much more united. So try to, if you're part of a local group here in Dallas, look for the Coalition for Environmental Justice online, and let's get together and create a basis for going forward together and being stronger. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Dallas Gold to come up here, say close it up here, so we can start, start our way on this march to Kelsey's house. Again, I want to remind everybody this walk is like prayer. So let's think about all those that are dealing with these storms and these new storms that are starting to come in. Just remember them and think about them. Think about our women and men, our missing and murdered women. Let's think about our young women and men overseas fighting, giving of themselves. Let's think about all those that have no food. If they find that food, find that water, find that love in their hearts and in their minds. Just remember that when we're walking on this, that different reasons of why we're walking, why we're coming together in solidarity in this way for all of our future generations. This man up here said to the community and said to the world that he needs to stand up to us, and he wants to stand up to us. But we have been standing up to him. We will continue to stand up to him. He says that he's not afraid of us. Well, we're not afraid of him either. We're not afraid of that mentality. We're not afraid of that way of thinking. That way of thinking, all it does is remind us of the past 500 years of what it's done to our people and the original people of this land. So keep those things in mind. Let's let them know that we're not going to stop. We're not going to let down. We're going to continue that momentum. We're going to keep praying, and we're going to pray hard, and we're going to keep demanding, that we be heard. So we're going to ask Dallas to close it up, and then we're going to mention discuss how this march is going to go down in the order of it, and then we'll start this march.
I got put on the spot earlier. I was in the way in the back. I heard my name, which is throwing me off because I've never been in Dallas, so it's Dallas and Dallas. It's a mind blow. I just wanted to close it up. I was asked to close it up, and there's nothing else I can say that's more powerful than what you heard from the relatives that spoke before me. Like I said in the beginning, these are the voices from the front line in the fight to not only protect their homelands, their water, their families, their community, their jobs. It's also a fight to protect Mother Earth, to defend our rights, to stand up and say, no, you can't do this. That we decide what happens to our water. We decide what happens to our daughters and our sons, our grandparents, and to ourselves. It's about self-determination and taking it to the next level. It's about us standing up together, unified, no matter whether we're in the desert lands of southwestern Texas to the woodland lakes of Michigan, whether we're in Pennsylvania, in the beautiful pine trees of that land, or you're in the plains of the Dakotas of the Chetichalcombe. We stand united. This unlikely alliance of native and non-native people who are here for a greater purpose for the next 7 generations and those beyond. And that's a charge that we carry that's sacred. That's a duty that we hold dear to our hearts, and we will not give up. We will not relent. And like my sister Cherie said, we stand because we are the first peoples of this land, and we have a duty to protect it at all costs. Thank you, relatives, for being here today, and look forward to marching with you right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Dallas. Again, okay, so we're going to do this march, and we're going to ask the Native communities, the local Native communities, and the ones that traveled from outside to lead us in this march with our women, our children, and our elders. We have our children up there so they can remind us, you know, in their efforts and how they started this movement, and you know, them representing our future generations. We have our elders up there to remember we never leave our elders behind and our elderly behind. And we're going to have them set that pace for us. If there's any issues or complications, please talk to somebody with a society symbol or AIM symbol, and you know, ask them for any assistance or help that you might need. Again, let's remember why we're here, why we come together to stand in solidarity. And again, I welcome every single one of you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm very grateful to each and every one of you. Oh. Yeah, I think Yolanda.
So we'll actually be walking from here to Kelsey.
Okay, yeah, so we're gonna go to the right over here. So we'll start lining up over here on the sidewalk so we can start getting situated to walk. Make sure you have your signs, make sure you're heard. Again, remember why we're here and why we're coming here. Remember to have our children and elders come up here in front, tribal leaders and elders.
Oh, thank you. Can I get a hug? Thank you very much. God bless. Okay. All right. I got the phone handed back to me. What's up, everybody? Let's say thank you to Arthur right here.
Hey, anything for this guy.
You're in incognito right now, huh?
Pretty much.
All right. Check out the Revenant. So we ended the rally here at the headquarters of Energy Transfer Partners. As you saw and listened to, there's a number of voices from various frontline fights across the country who are here, along with the support of local Native folks in Texas and the general Gulf Coast region. And now we're going to get ready to march right now to the CEO of Energy Transfer Partners, Kelsey Warren's house. So we're marching to Kelsey Warren's house. And I believe it's not too far. It's like 1.5 miles from here. I drove by it the other day. It's ridiculous. And so we're going to take to the streets right now. And things are going good. So I'm going to go and talk to a couple folks as we get ready to march here.
Before we go, actually, sorry, one last,
Can you talk or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So what's up, brother?
What's going on? What's going on, Dallas?
Introduce
In
yourself,
Dallas,
brother.
My name's Ohia Salak from Standing Rock, from Wapala. I'm stationed down here in Fort Hood, Texas.
And why are you here? Why do you feel like it's important for you to be here?
I am here because this is environmental racism at its finest. This is totally against everything that's good for humanity. Putting pipelines through the water, poisoning our water. There's environmental racism going on. There's racism against Muslims, Mexicans, and we are part of the 7th generation. This is our time to stand up. This is our time to fight. This is our time to say what's right. Because right now in America, it's not right what's going on here, and it's our duty to stand up and say something.
Right on. Now you're from Standing Rock, right?
Yes.
That's your homelands.
Yep.
So how was that for you through this whole fight, and and now seeing it going global and seeing this larger fight here? How's that feel for you?
Right. So we're from Standing Rock, a small little reservation, and we never get too much attention until all this came up, and it was just the most amazing thing to see all our family. Dallas, I grew up with Dallas. He's almost a member of our family. But it's just been the most amazing experience to see the whole world just support us and come out.
Word. Well, thank you, brother. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Right on.
What are we going to do to get a t-shirt like that?
Okay, so it looks like we're getting ready.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Tell everybody here so we got this photo op.
So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to Oh, we're doing a photo op? Photo op.
Yeah, everybody, I can't have a loud voice.
You don't have a loud voice?
All right, if y'all could please help us get this picture quickly, right in from the energy transfer.
I was gonna end the stream, but I think I might go here a bit. What? Yeah, over here.
Everybody this way.
Come on over. This is all the traffic in front of Energy Transfer Partners. This is hella ironic, right? That the other company that's in this building is called Chief Oil and Gas and has an Indian head for a freaking mascot. Or logo, whatever they call it. And we have some of the security, DAPL security, DAPL workers, or DAPL, I mean Energy Transfer workers. Security here. Stop. Alright, Arthur, you want to take over? You good? Alright. Here you go, Arthur. Check out the revenue.
Oh.
Yeah.